is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Good morning, I'm Lauren Casey. The time right now is 4:27 here. It is Thursday morning. Thanks for starting your day off with us here on Good Morning Indiana. We do have several stories to get to before we get into the show today. Starting with this one, we heard from Governor Eric Holcomb yesterday about the status of our reopening plan, the Back on Track plan here in the state of Indiana. And we know due to some concerns with the numbers and the rate of positive cases growing over the past few weeks, the governor has decided that the state will remain at stage 4.5 rather than moving to stage 5 over the weekend. Now we're going to break down what exactly that means, but basically everything we're doing now, we're going to stay doing that at those capacities for at least the rest of the month, the next 2 weeks or so. So we will be keeping you updated throughout the morning on what that all means. And we're going to be talking about testing availability, where you can get tested across the state. Hoosiers can get tested for free. All things we want you to know at home. So we'll break down that in just a moment. Let's take a turn right now to our forecast as we have more of an active day here. And Todd, the thing that I noticed walking into work this morning, a lot of people will, is the wind out there right now. It's really, really breezy.
Yeah, you know, it's breezy, it's more humid, and we had those rain showers come through. Some of you saw some heavy rainfall yesterday evening, carried that over into the overnight hours, and now it's calming down a little bit as far as the rain goes. Still that breeze that Lauren mentioned. And look at these temperatures still, 70s and 80 degrees in Muncie, 75 in Indy, as well as Bloomington, 73 in Kokomo. And you see a little green speckled across the radar in the center of your screen. Most of the heavy rainfall has come to an end for the day today, and thankfully we avoided a lot of that severe weather that they had in Illinois when they had the thunderstorm warnings and some tornado warnings. So throughout the day today, overall, it's a mostly cloudy day for us. Can't rule out the chance of a few spotty showers or two either this morning or into the afternoon, but the humidity is back. Yesterday, dew points kind of climbed a little bit throughout the day. Well, today they're going to be hovering right around that 70-degree mark, and that puts us in the uncomfortable territory. We'll dive into this forecast and look ahead to the weekend in more detail for you as well, coming up in just a few minutes. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We'll continue to check in with you on today's forecast. Something else we'll be talking about today is a survey that Indianapolis residents can take part in. This is about public safety and what are the top 3 problems you see in your neighborhood and your community. We're looking at some different communities and what issues they're facing. We know we've had a lot of crime lately, and we've had a lot of changes due to the pandemic and resources not being able to invite people indoors. So just a number of things we're going to be looking at, how you can take part in this survey. It is still open at this time, so we'll break that down for you in just a few minutes. And on that same topic of public safety here in the city of Indianapolis, our Rafael Sanchez had a one-on-one conversation with Mayor Joe Hogsett. This is something you'll only see here on RTV 6. They talked about public safety, the rise in crime and violence here in the city, and what they plan to do, and more on community policing and bringing that to the forefront. So we'll have Rafael's discussion with the mayor coming up, plus more news, weather, and traffic right here on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Indiana is staying in stage 4.5 for at least 2 more weeks. Now at 4:30, the numbers driving that decision and what it means for you. Plus, hospitals in the south and west are near capacity as the coronavirus cases across the country continue to grow. This morning we'll have the latest as health experts try and get those numbers under control. And city leaders are asking what safety changes you want to see here in Indianapolis. We'll have the details on how you can share your answers. But first, it is 4:30 here. It's Thursday morning. We want to thank you for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen is standing by from home. And Todd, I noticed the streets in my neighborhood were wet this morning when I was leaving for work, and it is windy out there.
Yeah, you know, and that breeze is actually going to help things a little bit. And I'll show you the satellite radar picture in just a second and the tower cam view to the north, and you'll be able to see those clouds moving really, really quick. Start you off with the temperatures, though, this morning. It's warm. It's still muggy, 80 degrees right now in Muncie, 75 in Indy, as well as Bloomington. The humidity is up as well. And here are those clouds that you can see moving really, really quickly, and that flag fully extended on top of the One America building there as you look from downtown off to the west. west. So as far as the rain goes, the heaviest of the rainfall has come to an end. You notice a few spotty showers still out there down towards Seymour, up towards Kokomo and Crawfordsville as well, as we'll expand out. The heaviest of that rain now is up in Michigan and just north of Fort Wayne. So overall, it's a mostly cloudy day for us. Can't rule out the chance of a quick passing shower throughout the day today, but nothing significant. With high temperatures, Lauren, that'll be topping off in the mid-80s due to the cloud cover. Enjoy the briefly cooler temperatures because tomorrow the 90s are set to return.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic as you're heading out on the roads. This is I-65 and I-70 at the North Split here in downtown Indy. The good news right now, if you are heading out early, it is a pretty quiet drive. No major issues to report in the downtown area here at the North Split for your Thursday commute.
Things are going to look different in our schools, at church, and throughout our daily lives for the foreseeable future. We all have a responsibility to do our part in keeping our loved ones, our neighbors, and our friends safe, and we cannot relax our guard.
A message from the state health commissioner to Hoosiers as the governor announces Indiana's back on track plan will not advance to stage 5 this weekend. Yesterday, Governor Holcomb stressed we will stay in stage 4.5 through at least the end of the month. That decision comes as the state experiences some COVID-19 trends that the health commissioner calls concerning. Dr. Christina Bach says the number of positive cases has gone up for the second straight week and that the 7-day positivity rate has steadily increased since June. It was just over 4.4% as of June 18th, just over 6% the week of July 4th, and around 7% as of July 11th. Dr. Bach says testing capacity is becoming an issue again, in part because the supply and demand issues caused by spikes in other states.
We know residents are experiencing longer waits to get their test results and that they don't know what to do in the meantime. These are external factors that are beyond our control, and we have become skilled at adapting to them. Despite these challenges, we are able to expand our free testing this week with an additional 11 sites around the state.
Anyone who lives or works here in Indiana can get a free COVID test through the state. There are no other requirements. You can register at lhi.care/COVID testing or by calling 888-634-1116. Walk-ins are also available. Well, more than 586,000 people have been tested for COVID-19 here in Indiana. 2,592 people in the state have died from that virus. At the weekly briefing, Governor Holcomb also answered questions about schools reopening. He says he met with the Indiana State Teachers Association, and the state and the association are working together to make sure that this is done safely.
We're all in constant communication about, yes, those protocols and that guidance and making sure that there is resources. Another thing that was brought up in that meeting, and I think it was a spot on, is making sure that schools have access to the resources they need to make sure they're clean and safe for students and faculty, teachers, superintendents, et cetera, to be in those buildings.
Well, the governor says he's strongly against withholding funding from schools. At 4:35, at least 137,000 Americans have now died from the coronavirus. As the number of new cases continue to worsen across the country, hospitals in the South and the West are near capacity as the urgent need for available beds has stranded patients in emergency rooms and even forced some to be relocated hundreds of miles away to relieve overcrowding. ABC's Ines de la Cotera is in Washington now with the latest.
This morning, the coronavirus crisis still worsening in the U.S. After setting a daily record for deaths, Florida now reporting 112 lives lost on Wednesday, many hospitals running out of ICU beds. Texas reporting 110 deaths, the Army sending doctors and nurses to Houston. In Arizona, the state health department bringing in nearly 600 nurses from out of state to help. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt becoming the first governor to test positive.
And the results came back positive. So I feel fine.
Stitt refusing to wear a mask at the president's Tulsa rally last month, but still insisting.
I'm not thinking about a mask mandate at all.
Alabama's governor now making masks mandatory, but Georgia's governor banning mask mandates, issuing an executive order that overturns any local laws requiring a face covering in public. CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield once again highlighting how masks could be helpful.
We really embrace masking. We really embrace social distancing and hand washing, we could bring this outbreak to its knees.
Meanwhile, the nation's top infectious disease expert hitting back after days of attacks from some White House officials.
Let's stop this nonsense and figure out how can we get our control over this now.
And Florida's governor says students will still be allowed to return to the classroom next month, despite new data showing 1 in 3 children are testing positive for the virus. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, Washington.
This morning, we're learning more about a shooting in Brownsburg on Tuesday that left 2 men dead. Police say 22-year-old Joshua Hayes attacked 36-year-old Seth Robertson unprovoked. Investigators say Hayes initially shot at Robertson and another man as the two worked in the Brownsburg cemetery. They tried to run away, but police say that Hayes shot and killed Robertson. When Hayes went after the second man, police say a bystander shot and killed Hayes to try and stop him. There's still no known motive or connection between Hayes and those victims. Concerned citizens in Idaho helped alert investigators to an animal cruelty case right here in central Indiana. The FBI raided a home on South 300 West up in Kokomo on Tuesday. On Wednesday, federal authorities announced the arrest of 19-year-old Crystal Scott. She's accused of posting videos of herself torturing and killing cats and dogs. She's charged with, quote, making and distributing animal crush videos. That's a video that shows the extreme mutilation, torture, and killing of animals. At 4:38, what safety changes would you like to see right here in Indianapolis? The city is asking that question and providing a very simple way for you to share your feedback. Officials say that a new survey will help redefine justice and public safety. It asks participants to name the top 3 public safety problems within your community and what conditions must be present for the community to be safe and equitable. Those are just a couple of the examples, and we took the questionnaire to community leaders and neighbors on the Far East Side.
Don't come in thinking you're going to fix us. We don't need to be fixed. We need opportunities. Where's our community centers? What happened to our playgrounds? What happened to us having an opportunity to walk to the store on a sidewalk on the Far East Side? Why do we have to walk in the street?
Well, the city says it has received more than 4,900 responses so far. The city will be available, or survey rather, will be available until August 31st. And you can find a link to that on our website, theindychannel.com. Newly released video shedding more light on George Floyd's arrest and death. Straight ahead, a look at what was captured on body cameras worn by officers involved in that case. And several big names and companies were the target of a Twitter scam on Wednesday. Coming up, what hackers wanted and how this all happened. Todd.
And Lauren, we had some pretty good rain yesterday evening across parts of the area that carried into the overnight hours. But as you can see on Storm Team 6 radar, most of that heavy rainfall is now moving off into Michigan. There's a few spotty showers still lingering around, but those two should start to come to an end. The big focus will be on the heat returning. We'll talk about that coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on RTV 6.
Well, new video is shedding light on the moments leading up to George Floyd's death. The footage has not been released to the public as it is considered evidence, but a judge allowed a limited release of video on Wednesday. Callan Gray gives a description of what she saw, and we want to warn you that some viewers may find the following video disturbing.
What you don't see in this security camera footage of officers Thomas Lane and Alexander King is Lane knocking on the driver's side window first with a flashlight, saying to Floyd, "Let me see your hands," through the glass. In Lane's body camera footage, Floyd appears to be startled. His left hand is up. He opens the door slightly, saying sorry. Lane again asks to see both hands, Floyd telling him, "I didn't do nothing." The video shows Lane pulling out his gun and pointing it at Floyd as he again orders Floyd to put his hands up. In the video, we see Floyd at the direction of Lane put them on the steering wheel, leaning his head forward. It appears Floyd begins to cry. Lane then pulls Floyd out of the vehicle by his arm and handcuffs him with the help of King. About 6 minutes into the video, they walk him over to the squad. That's when they ask Floyd if he's on something. He says no. When asked why he's acting erratic, he says, "I'm scared." The body camera footage shows them searching him at the squad, but they struggle for 3 minutes to get Floyd into the vehicle. First, both officers try to get him to sit in the back seat, Floyd telling them he's claustrophobic. At one point, he starts to sit down, telling them he'll count to 3 and then go in, and begins to close his eyes to count. Then the video shows Lane going around to the other side of the squad and trying to pull Floyd through. Floyd does end up going through the vehicle, coming out the other side. At that point, Derek Chauvin appears in the video, holding on to Floyd. Then King comes around, and it appears Chauvin and King bring Floyd to the ground. The video shows them restraining him. King is positioned at Floyd's torso with at least one knee on his back. Lane appears to be holding Floyd's legs. Chauvin has his knee on Floyd's upper back and neck area.
Prosecutors have said that Chauvin knelt on Floyd's neck for nearly 8 minutes, but according to the footage, it was actually more around 9 minutes and 30 seconds. You can also hear Lane ask multiple times whether they should roll Floyd on his side, and Chauvin says to, quote, "just leave him." All 4 officers have been fired and are facing charges. A civil suit against the officers and the city of Minneapolis has been filed by George Floyd's family. A resolution passed by the Asheville City Council in North Carolina is making national headlines. Council members voted unanimously Tuesday to provide reparations for the city's Black residents. It does not mandate direct payments. Instead, it will make investments in areas where Black residents there have faced disparities. That includes things like developing strategies to increase home ownership and access to other affordable housing, increasing business ownership and career opportunities, and closing the gaps in healthcare, education, and fairness within the criminal justice system. A community reparations commission will provide recommendations on how to implement the reparations in the short and long term. Turning now to the election, with just under 4 months to go, President Trump is shaking up his re-election campaign. Brad Parscale is out as his campaign manager, and Bill Stepien is being promoted to fill that role. Stepien and Parscale were both part of the president's 2016 campaign. The president said on Facebook that Parscale will keep his role as the leading digital and data strategies and also be a senior advisor to that campaign. The announcement comes at a time when Trump is trailing Joe Biden by double digits. And speaking of the election, it looks like Kanye West might not be on the ballot this fall. After all, he did qualify to be in the general election ballot in Oklahoma, but an advisor for the rapper told the New York Magazine Wednesday that West is, quote, out. While West had not made any mention of dropping out of the race, it is too late for him to be placed on the ballot in at least 4 states, North Carolina, New Mexico, Texas, and right here in Indiana. It is 4:47. Time now to take a turn to our forecast. Todd Clausen is standing by. Todd, what do we need to know on this Thursday?
You know, there's a few lingering showers here this morning, but by no means today is it going to be a washout, Lauren. So you may hear the chance of a shower in the forecast, but carry on with any of your plans that you do have outdoors today. In fact, you'll get a little bit of a break from the heat with the additional cloud cover that'll be around. Some of you got some decent rainfall yesterday evening after sunset and then into the early morning hours. And there's still a few lingering showers here just south of Danville. There's a shower north of Lebanon as well. And as we slide further to the north, some light rain showers over towards Tipton and Marion, but the bulk of the rainfall is moving out of central Indiana. There's some pretty good storms there up near Angola in the far northeastern portion of the state, but that is just about it. So definitely do not think of today as a rainy day, because it is not. There will be a few lingering showers here and there, but anything from this point forward, if you do see one of those showers, it would be very light. We're not talking about thunderstorms. We're not talking about any significant weather heading our way, and then it's going to just take a little while for us to thin the clouds out. I do think we'll see some sunshine at times throughout the day today, but overall it is going to be mostly cloudy, and you can see that solid cloud deck right now as you look off towards the south past Lucas Oil Stadium and beyond. All that gray that you see there is the solid cloud deck that is in place here on this Thursday morning. Temperatures range from 74 in Terre Haute to 80 right now in Muncie. 77 is the current current temperature in Greenfield and 75 in Bloomington. Throughout the day today, with the clouds in place this morning, temperatures won't do a whole lot. We're still in the mid-70s through at least the noon hour. And then once we get into the afternoon, that's when we're going to see our temperatures start to moderate a little bit up into the low to mid-80s. I think about 82 to 85 is what we're looking at in general today for our high temperatures. Tomorrow, we're back closer to 90 degrees for the high, and that's due to more in the way of sunshine in the forecast. The humidity is going to be elevated a little bit today, and then it'll continue to climb throughout the day tomorrow. And we are going to enter a very long stretch here of high humidity and high temperatures. It's probably going to be about a 4-day stretch with high temperatures anywhere from 90 to 95 degrees. But when you factor in that humidity that we're expecting, we're looking at heat index values, especially on Sunday, that could be well over 100 degrees. So it's going to be hot with a chance of isolated storms. The better storm chances in this forecast are going to arrive at the end of your 7-day here with Tuesday and Wednesday. And with the additional cloud cover, Lauren, we'll see more temperatures in the 80s compared to the 90s.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out the door this Thursday morning. Here's I-65 and Keystone Avenue, south of the downtown area. You can see that construction crews are out there early this morning. This is a long-term project, creating a traffic shift in the northbound lanes and some restrictions in both directions. So just use caution and watch for workers out there. Take it slow and follow the lanes for that traffic shift. No other major issues. Just slow down your commute at this early hour. Several public figures and major companies had their Twitter accounts hacked on Wednesday. It was reportedly part of a Bitcoin scam. Now, accounts for former President Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Kanye West, Uber, and Apple were all breached. Messages encouraged followers to send Bitcoin to an address. Many verified users had accounts locked down for hours as the company investigated. Twitter says hackers targeted its employees with access to internal systems and tools, but it's still unclear who is behind that attack. American Airlines plans to furlough thousands of employees this fall, and executives say potentially 25,000 employees could receive notices. That includes around 10,000 flight attendants and 2,500 pilots. The company says that furloughs could happen on October 1st, and that's the same day the federal government lifts a ban impacting airlines that took the federal bailout money, rather. The bailout temporarily bars those airlines from enacting layoffs, pay cuts, and involuntary furloughs. Revenue for the airline was down more than 80% last month compared to a year ago as the pandemic continues to cause a decrease in travel. While Disney World is rolling along with its reopening plan on Wednesday, Epcot and Hollywood Studios welcomed back guests. That reopening comes as a surge in Florida pushes COVID-19 cases to new highs. Officials say several new health and safety measures are in place at the parks. Face masks are mandatory. All guests and workers will get temperature checks. Social distancing rules must be followed, and guest capacity is much lower. Disneyland Paris also reopened Wednesday as Europe sees the virus declining. But the theme park in Hong Kong shut down again after being open less than a month as cases in the country grow. Well, do you know how old your dog really is? After the break, why scientists in California say the way we've been calculating canine ages is wrong, and the new formula you should use. And many expecting and new mothers are having to go to their doctor appointments alone because of the coronavirus restrictions. So coming up, all new at 5 o'clock, one local woman is sharing her experience and frustrations only with RTV6. It is 4:52. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So here's something you may not know. It's always believed that dogs age 7 times faster. They age 7 times faster than humans, but now we know that's not actually the case. Researchers at the University of California, San Diego say calculating a dog's age is actually more complicated. The formula they developed is a logarithm of the dog's age multiplied by 16 plus 31. That would mean that a 1-year-old dog is close to a 31-year-old human. A 5-year-old dog is similar to a 57-year-old human, and a 10-year-old dog is likened to a 68-year-old human. Researchers based their equation on canine and human genomes after studying 104 Labrador retrievers. Pretty interesting. Todd, if people want to take their dog out on a walk today, what would be a good time to do that?
You can basically do it at any point throughout the day today, I think, Lauren. Yeah, there will be the chance of a stray shower here or there, but we're looking at anything that does fall to be very, very light. No organized thunderstorm activity from this point forward throughout the day. Tomorrow's mostly sunny and hot, 90 degrees, and then in the mid-90s for Saturday and Sunday with the heat and humidity, the chance of some isolated storms. But by far, the bigger issue for this weekend will be the heat and humidity compared to the storm chances. The best chance of storms in this forecast not until Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. The time now is 4:57. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. Stay with us. We're back in just a couple minutes.